I am aware that I am annoyed during conversations and don't say anything, but it eats me up later for a long time. Saying something doesn't feel right, but swallowing it seems just as bad of a response. Yeah, I think there's a couple of ways that I would respond to this that's coming through. One is feeling in your body a little bit more as you're sitting there, right? Because you're annoyed during a conversation, because it might be your mind that's taking you off to the chicken farm and back, when you really just need to be present with the person. And maybe finding that presence will give you a little bit different feeling about listening to the person. Now, I don't know if you're specifically speaking about like one person that annoys you in conversation, or if it's multiple people, but I'm sort of getting that feeling that it's perhaps one person that's annoying you more than others. And so we know what that is, that's oftentimes a trigger, that we're getting triggered by something that they're doing, not doing, saying, not saying, and we're following our mind and the narrative of our mind that's helping us get annoyed. So again, I would come back to the body, and even simple exercises, like sometimes just focusing, depending upon where you're at. I mean, if you're standing, it's a different story. I'll share that in a second. But if you're sitting, sometimes just focusing on the sit bones, like just going, okay, taking a deep breath and just focusing on the sit bones and just be with it in that moment, and try to really listen with your heart, not your ears and your mind in that sense. See what comes through. See in your body, like, well, where am I getting this uncomfortable feeling of being annoyed? And then afterwards, you can reflect with yourself. I always love recommending journaling, but reflect, like, why, where, and why do I feel like I'm getting that feeling? Now, if you're standing, you can do the same thing. I would just recommend, think about the balls of your feet, either your heel or the ball of your feet, and just like put a real intention to just be grounded there. And that'll bring you a little bit more back into your body and a little bit less out there in the mind. Now, if you can, it's always wonderful if you can speak your truth in the moment that you're feeling it, because then you're really there. But I recognize that sometimes we're too emotional. I know for myself, when my emotions are really high, I might have something I think I want to say in response, but I don't. I just take the pause and I listen. And for me, that reflection point afterwards is helpful. But if I can speak the truth in that moment, like, hey, like, wow, I'm feeling this at this moment. I don't even know why. So like, if you're feeling annoyed, but you don't want to trigger them, you might just say, I'm just feeling a little off in this moment. Like, I really want to listen to what you're saying, but I've got this happening, whatever that is for you. So you're just really acknowledging in real time, like, hey, there's something happening here. I'm not giving you my full attention. I really want to. Or maybe you even say, I want to give you my full attention. For whatever reason, my shit, your shit, I don't know, but can we have this conversation, later or tomorrow or whatever feels right for you based on your relationship with that person. And if you just can't do that, like you just don't have the time because it's a passing thing, then I would really do your best to speak the truth of what you're feeling. And if it's someone who's not a feely person, someone that you're like, oh yeah, I can't actually say that because they're going to think that I'm crazy or weird, that I'm expressing my emotions or my feelings, then I would also just think about, why are you in the conversation with them? I know that sounds a little bit harsh, but it's sort of like, why are you giving them your time? Because if it's someone that's not actually being present with you, and I think sometimes that happens in conversation, we get annoyed because we feel like someone's talking just to talk because they want to be heard. And sometimes we play that role as a friend. We listen and we validate and we let them sort of, get it all out there. And then there's times where we go, hey, let me just put a little boundary on this. Like, let's ring fence this. Like, it sounds like, and here's another technique you can use. It sounds like you're really upset because of. So just take that pause and repeat back to them what you're hearing so that you can cut the momentum of their story or the momentum of the annoyance that they might be hitting you up with. So if you're on with me live, I always love to hear if that's helpful, if you want more information on that particular question. But just really being present is always gonna get you a lot more than listening to the narratives of the mind and kind of running around that crazy farm, being annoyed and just experiencing those emotions. Sometimes we have to just walk away. But with communication. Each week, I so appreciate you tuning in. Sundays, 11 a.m. Pacific time. And I love your questions and I love bringing through the insights. If you want more support, you can always go to bethbell.me. You can write your questions there, bethbell.me/questions. You can write in the comments here, and I'll always pull them forward for the next show. And there's also the Awakening and Healing Handbook on bethbell.me. It's got lots of tips, tools, techniques, and modalities that can help you on your spiritual awakening journey, as well as the Herpes Handbook. And if you're ready for spiritual medicines, there's also the Psychedelics Resource Guide. And of course, you can always find my best-selling book, Angels, Herpes, and Psychedelics, Unraveling the Mind to Unveil Illusions. Until next week, I am wishing you so much bliss and love on the journey. Namaste.